Is there any evidence for life beyond the grave?
Well, we have people coming forward and testifying to that all the time. And books get published and they sell like crazy with titles like Talking to Heaven. And
They never talk to hell. I don't know why.
They never seem to talk to hell. I guess they're drowned out with the screams.
Right.
But this doesn't. Once again, it is so easy. People want to believe. When people want to believe something, it's awfully easy to fool them. So they get debunked over and over. And yet the next guy comes along with the same claim, and people buy into it again. They really want to believe. And when people want to believe, there's not I don't know how you stop them from doing that. All you can do is debunk these things over and over.
It's like a party pooper. You're telling them they're not going to live. Their loved ones don't exist anymore.
You're party pooper, all right, and it's painful to have to tell people that look, there's not a hint of an afterlife. You are not going to be reunited with your loved ones. There's just no hint at all that that's so. Some years back, when we first reestablished relations with the People's Republic of China, I went on a scientific delegation, one of the first, right after the end of the Cultural Revolution. It was just ending.
Oh, wow.
And they took us to Xi'an, out in northwest China, to view a new, was at that time very new, archaeological discovery. They found the Emperor Qin's army. They knew where his tomb was, but then the peasants digging a well discovered that there was something under this unusually symmetric hill, and they excavated it. And at the time I was there, they had found a few hundred soldiers, and they were life-sized soldiers carrying their arms, and no two were alike. They had natural features. They had apparently been sculpted after actual members of the emperor's army. Now, this is kind of enlightened. In an earlier time, I think they would have buried the soldiers alive, but at least they were burying terracotta figures of the soldiers. And it was an incredible find. They have since found more than 8,000 life-size soldiers and horses. Just an incredible sight. The one thing, Qin had absolute power. He could have anything in this life that he wanted. The one thing he couldn't have is an extension. So he spent his life trying to ensure that he had power in the next life. And of course, it didn't buy him a thing. There is absolutely no reason to believe anything about an afterlife. Nobody comes back. Now and then somebody claims to have come back, but none of this is ever verifiable. It's easy to make claims like that, and particularly a long time ago. So nothing ever comes out of this. There is not a hint that's verifiable that there is an afterlife. So if you want to believe in one, you can obviously believe anything you like. You can't prove there is not an afterlife. But once again, it's just not a useful concept. It's used to manipulate people. If you perform the right rites, you will get into this afterlife, and otherwise, boy, that's not good. So it's it's that desire to believe.
We all have that desire to believe. It's built within us, but does that desire, because it's in us, indicate that it may have some reality to it because we have the desire?
This, in fact, is often a claim that, look, the knowledge of this has been planted in your heart by the holy angel.
Or whomever.
And, or whoever. And if we look deep enough within ourselves, we'll find it. Well, if we look deep enough within ourselves, what we find is the instinct for self-preservation. The most powerful instinct that we have. And so, of course, we self-preservation means we're going to find a way. And so yeah, we believe it. And this is nothing more than survival instinct.
So the same survival
instinct. The most basic
instinct,
of all instincts.
the same instinct that would have me run away from a bear would have me contemplating a belief in an afterlife, because they both preserve the me that's my first person.
That your life is not going to end. You don't want... a couple of things are puzzling here. I mean, with as wonderful as heaven is painted, people don't seem anxious to get there. That survival instinct makes them try to live as long as they can. And only when they can't live another breath do they buy into the afterlife. Well, they might buy into it sooner. But this is kind of an idle way to convince ourselves that we can survive. This is a painful planet. Life's not easy. It's not easy for anybody. And most of us are going to leave it on a terrible low. I used to think the best way to go was to fall dead winning a marathon. I mean, you go out on a high. But most of us aren't going out on a high. We're going out on a terrible low. And to make that easier, it's easy to imagine that, well, this is not really the end.
But it is.
But it is. And it's just it's sad, but it's not so sad, really. I mean, we get a shot at this. Look, we don't know why we're here. We're not here for a reason. We're here because of an accident. And yet, we have the privilege of examining this whole universe and finding out what's going on. I mean, we're lucky as hell. People in the past didn't have that. They imagined that the sky at night was a bowl with bright lights attached to it. We now know what these things are. We know an awful lot, and that's about the only thing we have going. We can learn about this whole incredible universe that we live in, and we're learning more every day. That's
but
great.
For our personal lives, less than 100 years out of billions of years, it seems an awfully minuscule existence.
It is.
You offer me nothing better.
I offer you nothing, but I'm saying that that's not so bad. Now, I feel sorry for those who lived before, who couldn't get a glimpse of this magnificent universe we live in. But now we do. We get to study this universe. And so what we have is now, that sets us apart, is science. We can learn. So that's not much to offer, maybe, but it's all there is.